Okay, welcome back to episode 14 of the Jodas Hour. Today I have Joey Brooks, the world amateur boxing champion, with me right now. You can obviously see the belt right on the table right there. Joey's coming in today. He's going to be talking about his boxing career a little bit, his training, his lessons learned, basically everything to do with boxing. Have had a little bit of a break since episode 13, graduate, everything like that. Everything's already passed now, though. Now we're here with Joey Brooks. So, Joey, to start off with, would you want to give a little bit of a recap of your last fight? I'll include some highlights throughout this. Just give the audience basically an introduction on this.
Yeah, so pretty much my last fight was last night. It was a rematch against the guy who I beat for the belt. So I had a little bit more time to train, prepare. It was in Newton last night. So my fight was the 10th fight of the night, which is kind of brutal since it started at 8. So it didn't go on until 10 something, which is I really don't like. I like to be the first fight. It's nice and easy, get it out of the way, and then after you can watch all of other fights. So since mine was last, you had to wait in the locker room while all the other people would come in. Either they won or lost, and they're all happy or sad, like crying almost. So I just had to stay and wait, and I was like, oh, come on. I was pacing for an hour, shadow boxing in the locker room. Anyways, my fight finally happened, took forever. Came in there, won all 3 rounds. All 5 judges went to me. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Decision win. I tried to get the knockout. I hit him in the head. His headgear flipped over. I thought I had him there, but whatever. Decision win is fine.
Yeah, you still got the clean sweep, Joe. You got 5-0 on the judges bracket. That's great.
Yeah.
The fact that you knocked his headgear off, that one coolest story. That's going to sound so cool when you tell your kids that type of stuff.
It flipped over to the side. I see half face and I was like, oh, I got to counter on this.
Did he just look terrified under the face mask when I lift up? Yeah, I imagine when that lifts up, it's like an NFL player's helmet coming off. They realize what's coming.
Yeah, he doesn't, because sometimes for me, when I'm sometimes he'll put his fist on my face or whatever, something when you can't see when you're fighting, it's very scary because you don't know what's gonna happen, what punches are gonna hit you and stuff.
Yeah, you probably start just hearing footsteps that aren't there and that type of stuff. You expect a punch coming from the right when there's nothing even coming there. You start dodging, but that is definitely terrifying to have to deal with. Yeah. But no, Joe, I'm happy you brought up the point about wanting to get the fight done with early, kind of. When it's done with early, you're sitting back, you're relaxing, you're enjoying the fights. When it's done later, you're just sitting there thinking about everything that could happen, everything that could go wrong. Yeah. The fact that you won as the 10th fight, that shows a testament to your character. That shows that you're actually able to drive through that and not really deal with the noise that's coming from all around you. So that's really impressive to see. But I wanted to ask you, Joey, since this was a rematch of that first match for the belt, was it a little bit different since you already knew your opponent's kind of fight style, know his moves a little bit, know what he's going to do in the ring?
Honestly, I was going to go in with the same game plan as the first fight, just constant pressure on the kid. And it worked. I expected my opponent to have a different game plan from the first fight. I didn't, not so much of a different game plan. So luckily for me, I did the same thing, and that's how I won. He's been doing it for longer, so he probably has more skill than me and stuff. So I just knew if I just wanted more, and I just hit him with so much pressure and used my toughness to win. That's what I did.
Yeah, you mentioned he was doing it longer, but I think him doing it for so long probably has gotten him in a comfort zone where he's not going to change his style. When you're kind of a raw fighter, you can experiment with a bunch of different styles, obviously. When you're committed to that one style, your opponent, like you in that fight, knows what you're going to do. You didn't even have to change your game plan. You still beat him.
Yeah.
That's just so impressive to see. But, Joey, we basically have been talking about, even before the podcast, your history, your family history with boxing. Would you want to give the audience a little bit of a recap about your family's history with boxing and how you kind of started off in the boxing world?
Yeah, so my dad, he was a silver glover boxer way back in the day. So then he knew how to box. And then once my brother, he's around 29-ish right now, he would also train. He trained all over all these different gyms, did MMA, did boxing, never got a fight, trying to look for fights. So then I obviously came in. I would get trained from my dad, my brother. I was really born into fighting, I loved it. It was great. So that was good. My brother, he finally found a gym, Punishment Striking Systems, the gym I go to now. Shout out to them. He found them while I was at an MMA gym, and then my brother's like, yo, you want to come in, get this fight on 2 days' notice? And I was like, sure. And that was the fight for the belt. So then once I fought, I won. I immediately switched all over to boxing, just straight up doing that under Coach Aaron Bernardo. Shout out to him. So yeah, now my brother trains. Now I train. Obviously, my dad doesn't train. My dad just is like our mentor, our coach. Watches over us, goes to all our fights. And my brother finally has a fight this upcoming week, the 17th. So his first fight. So that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, give a little shout out, Joey. Tell them where they can see that if they want to.
All right, yeah, Mike. He's trying to look for different nicknames right now.
Yeah.
He used to be always the Boogeyman, Mike Boogeyman Brooks. Now he might be the Dark Horse. We don't know yet, but Mike the Dark Horse Brooks fighting. What is that? March, May, June.
Yeah, June.
Yeah, June 17th. He's fighting.
Damn, okay. Yeah, if you want to check that out, June 17th, just check it out. I'll try finding a link or something that we can find to get to that fight. Put it in the description. We'll set that up.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, that'll be good. But no, Joey, obviously you were born into fighting, as you said, and got taught by your dad, got taught by your brother, and then you got taught by a coach. How was it kind of switching between those different kind of figures in your life who were leading you, guiding you how to actually box?
Yeah, because they all had different styles and techniques. My dad was more traditional old school. And then obviously when I did MMA, it was obviously way different from a whole different style because I just wanted to do MMA for my whole life until I finally did boxing. Then I had to transition over back to boxing on a new style, which is my style, is just constant pressure, forward pressure, not like dance in a movie, just like right towards the guy and absolutely bulldoze him.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you mentioned the not dancing around. There's a couple of UFC fighters you'll see now where there's actually just dancing in the ring, just messing around with their opponent. No, it was good to see that you have that kind of genuine play style that you actually can like conform to each time, where, as you said, constant pressure. Some people will have mainly their defense as their strong suit, have their moves their strong suit. Constant pressure, that's something that actually requires hustle, requires effort. That's impressive to have as your main skill. That's really good to see. But no, so Joey, you mentioned when you were talking a little bit earlier, obviously the boxing gym that you joined. I got kind of a funny story to tell you right now. So my brother, when he was in high school, wanted to get into boxing a little bit. And there was my brother-in-law, basically, who was a boxing coach, but he coached at a woman's gym called Striking Beauties. So my brother went every day as the only guy in a girls' gym, and he was just working out with girls on boxing bags. And I'd mess with him sometimes because it was Striking Beauties. So I'd say, "Oh, are you a Striking Beauty, John?" And like, you'd mess with him about that. But it's just funny to see because I haven't been able to really talk to anyone about that in 4 years. And now you're doing boxing, Joey. It's just so cool to see.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that there were 2 days before the fight for the World Championship, before you, like, that you actually knew about the fight happening. You didn't really know that before that. What were those 48 hours like for you, would you say?
Yeah, so literally I was like eating food, junk food and stuff as I got the call. I was about to go train at my MMA gym. While I was like eating junk food and stuff, I get a call from my brother, and it's my coach Aaron Bernardo and my brother on the phone. They're like, "Yo, do you want a title fight?" And like, I thought they were joking around. I was like, "Yeah, okay." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And like, it's for real. It's on Saturday. And they're like, "All right." I mean, I can't. Why would I say no to it? I have nothing to lose. I was like, my plan was to do the fight and then go back to MMA, not even be a boxer. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it for a title fight. And they're like, yeah, well, this kid's he's a 4-1 fighter. He's been doing it for a long time. And I was like, all right, let's do it, whatever. So literally right then and there, I put down all junk food. I was like, I have to lose weight too on such short notice. I had to lose about 7 pounds. It wasn't too hard, especially if you're like cutting weight for like. It's pretty difficult for the normal person, but I was kind of like I knew what I was doing, so I cut weight, and then literally all I was thinking of was, damn, I gotta show up, man, on Saturday. I also had prom too. It was also the week of prom, so that's the only thing I was on my mind the whole time. Even at prom, I couldn't really eat that much, so people already know. The only thing I ate was those little like steak tips or whatever they were. Like 3 of those, and then I was done. And
you had to cut at prom. I didn't even realize that.
And I was nervous all the time too. Like at prom, I wasn't even nervous for the fight. I just wanted to chill and relax. I was like, I have a fight in the morning. I was like, I don't know what to do, man. I was like, I gotta focus on this. So finally, the morning came of, and I was like, all right, it's time. It was in Lynn, so it was a long drive through Boston. That was pretty fun. I got there. I saw my opponent. I was like, all right, he was looking pretty bigger than me, but I think I was a little taller than him. So I was like, all right, we're probably the same weight and everything. That's probably him. And yeah, I wasn't really nervous for the fight. I was just kind of just chill, relaxing there. There's really nothing to be nervous about, you know. Like, I knew I was ready, I guess. I knew I had a chin. You know, I don't need to like worry about getting knocked out or anything. And I followed the game plan. I knew if I followed the game plan, I would win. So I was like, you know what, just don't stray from the game plan, I'd win. That's what I did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been Kobe Bryant. I'm not fully sure, but they said that nervousness is only lack of preparation. Basically, you weren't that nervous because you had a game plan you could fall back on. When you can fall back on that, you're never gonna get nervous. You know that you can just go right back to it. But no, so the fact that you had 48 hours, Joey, and you say you cut 7 pounds in those 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, I understand for some people, they'll wear like a sauna suit, just sweat the entire time. Some people will just eat like 1 tin of sardines the entire day, then run multiple miles. What was your form of cutting for those 2 days?
So yeah, first I also want to say the week after that, I fought on another 2 days notice, and I was even heavier. I had to lose more pounds, more weight. So literally what I did was, I didn't have a sauna suit in time because I tried to order one. I didn't get it in time, so I used trash bags. I made a homemade one with trash bags. Put it on me, went on my Peloton, I love my Peloton. It's great. And I lost all the weight doing that. I was obviously running, drinking lots of water to get it drained out of me. And that's pretty much what I did. And, you know, homemade sauna suit, sweatsuit and stuff, Peloton, and eating right.
Yeah, I said the sweatsuit thing more as kind of like a general guess. The fact that you made your own homemade sweatsuit is awesome, Joey. That's great. But no, the Peloton probably actually helps you perfectly with that because you're just finding a way to burn calories without actually having like. If you spent that time outside running pure miles on the street, you'd have to find paths to go through. Yeah. When you're on the Peloton, it does it for you, so that's not bad. But now, so continuing on, Joey. Obviously, World Championship. In fact, that's your first fight. Yeah. We obviously got to give some props to that real quick. But what do you think is coming next for you in this boxing career?
It's actually a pretty cool thing that's going to happen on August 20th this year. I'm fighting for another belt on the Battleship in Fall River. It's called Battle for the Battleship. I'll be fighting for a belt, so that'll be fun. More info will be on my Instagram, so follow me on there. And yeah, a couple guys in my gym are fighting. Obviously, my brother's fighting too. I think he's fighting for a belt, which would be awesome. A couple other guys, I don't know who yet, but yeah. So August 20th will be my next fight, hopefully.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely be posting about that for you, Joey. Once you're part of this Joe Desire family, you stuck with it forever. Obviously, Cam Foray, everyone saw our D1 post when she had that happen. You're going to be getting the same exact kind of treatment, Joey. Do not worry.
Thank you.
The fact that you keep having fights like this come up and there's such big bouts already in your young career, that can show you what's going to be coming in the future. You're going to have a big career in this sport. And as you switched from MMA to boxing, how was it kind of accepting that this is what you were going to do right now? And even though it wasn't what you wanted to do at first, it's what you're doing now.
Yeah, so pretty much after all my fights I had to talk with my family about like, all right, is this what you want to do, boxing, you know, or do you want to just stay with MMA? And like, I really did not know at all. We're doing pros and cons of why I should do boxing, why I shouldn't. And then in the end, I was like, you know, it's probably the better decision doing boxing. I could probably get farther in my career. Probably better pay, hopefully. I mean, I could do more in boxing and get more fights, I think, than MMA, which I already proved. You know, I already have a couple fights down already. So obviously the transition was hard, like technique-wise, but mentally also.
Yeah, the whole mental struggle in basically combat sports is one massive thing that people don't think about. You're walking in that ring knowing you're going to get hit in the face. You know you're not going to walk out unscathed, basically. How is it walking into those fights every time, knowing you're walking in the jowls of death, basically? You're walking into somewhere where you could get knocked out, or you're standing above them holding the championship belt while they're on the ground.
You know, yeah, it's something that really gets in your head. It gets in all heads of fighters, you know. Like, before the fight, you always think about, like, you could either be knocked out, like, killed or something. Like some people die in the sport, which is tragic. You don't want it to happen, but it can happen. So you always got to be aware of all the precautions and walking. Like usually my whole day leading up to the fight, I'm joking around with my family. Like some people always are like serious, don't want to talk, have headphones in. Like I don't even bring AirPods. I just like to relax, talk to people until I start my walk. So like when the fight before me is going on, that's when I'll start to lock in, get serious. I don't talk to anybody but my coach and focus. It's very, I wouldn't say I'm nervous, but it's always like in my head, like you gotta show up, you gotta prepare. Like I don't want all that training for nothing, you know. I've been training so hard every day for hours each day, and to go out there and like lay a goose egg, you know, you never want to do that. You always want to perform, and you know when you do perform, it's a great feeling. Win or loss, if you perform, and even if you lose, but you had a great fight, you know, if you gave your effort, that's all you can ask for, you know.
Yeah, I think there's one massive thing that affects basically everyone who's trying to be the best in their certain area of life, and that's something called imposter syndrome, where you feel like even though when you put the work in, you can look back, count the hours, you can count the days, count everything basically, but that all kind of just disappears at times, and you start thinking, do I belong here? Mm-hmm. When you're walking in that ring, instead of having the whole day where you're just blacking out the world, trying to focus on that fight, you don't have as long of time for that imposter syndrome to creep in, basically, and for you to question if your whole ideology is wrong. When you do it just for the walk-up, I think that's such a smarter move in comparison to people who try blocking out the world for the entire day. Mm-hmm. Try getting their heads right, because you're just giving more time for breaks in that seal to happen, basically.
Yeah.
And water to leak in, and you start getting self-doubt the entire time during the fight.
Yeah, 100%.
So, no, I do definitely think that you focusing on your mental game is going to help you so much in this sport. The fact that you can be lighthearted just hours before a fight, basically, mm-hmm. Joey, that's something that only the greats can do.
Yeah.
If you're not showing worry on your face, your opponent's going to be terrified of what's going to happen during that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, Joey, now is time for the first break, just to make sure that none of the audio or none of the video gets corrupted. We'll be right back after this. This is Joey Brooks, the amateur world champion of boxing right now. Okay, welcome back from the break. We're back with Joey Brooks, the world champion amateur boxer right now. Every time I've said that title, I've said it a little bit differently. One of these times we're going to get it right, though, Joey. One of them has to have been right so far. But we're going to jump right back into this interview. Joey, before we left off, we talked about your switch from boxing to MMA. Would you want to go a little more in depth on how good you were at MMA and how much time had been focused on MMA specifically before you switched to boxing?
Yeah, so pretty much after I was starting getting trained from my family, just the basics down, learning how to fight, I was begging them to sign me up for an MMA gym because I was always an MMA fan. You know, I wasn't really a boxing fan. I'm not really a boxing fan. I don't really watch that many boxing fights. So I really loved MMA, and I still do. It's part of my favorite sport right now. And once I got into an MMA gym, I loved it there. I wanted to fight. Obviously, I was young, too. So I just kept training, hoping for a fight. Still nothing happening. Still training for, like, I was doing it on and off for a year. Then I was doing straight MMA for a year, just like, grinding. Nothing would happen. So then finally boxing came in, you know, so I had some skill through fighting, but it was way different, a lot more technique wise with boxing over MMA. Very quick hands, movement, a lot of things you need to know, even though it's just your hands and pretty much your head moving. It's way different than that. A lot of technique, you gotta be very smart. It's like, honestly, it's like a lot mental game over like a physical game, because like you need to know so much for a boxing fight. Obviously, there's no kicks in boxing, which was brutal for me. I was so close to kicking people while I was sparring people at my gym for the first time. I was like, oh, that was a good kick right there I could land. I was like, I can't do that though. So that was a fun transition.
Yeah, it's basically reprogramming your brain on what you can and can't do in that situation.
Yeah.
And Joey, I actually kind of want to get your insight on this. I was kind of thinking about it while you were talking, and this actually is a question I've wondered for a long time. The difference in environment of an MMA gym versus a boxing gym, what would you say that difference is? And basically the moods in those gyms, like what is the main focus compared between those two gyms?
Honestly, it's kind of the same vibe. Well, it's different for each and every gym. you have guys at all the guys at MMA gyms that want to win, be the best. Then you have all the guys at a boxing gym want to win, be the best. Sometimes they'll fight each other, so it's kind of funny how that works. It's just a ton of guys. Some gyms go hard sparring, some gyms go light sparring. So it's all different throughout, like, each and every gym, but it's all with one goal in the end, just to win.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you're talking about the hard boxing gyms, I imagine when you witness hard boxing, or hard sparring, I should say. I got a little tripped up there for a second. Hard sparring in a gym. That probably is when you see tempers flare a bit and you start to think, like, wow, these guys can actually get to a different mindset. Even if they were friends minutes ago, they forget that when you get in the ring, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You just want to take the head off. Like, in my MMA gym, we was light sparring pretty much all the time, and then once I did at my boxing gym, I got cracked right in the face. I started bleeding everywhere. I was like, oh, this is a little different. Like, in MMA, I'd get elbows and stuff, bleed and stuff, but it was mainly light. And then once like, for technique and stuff, but then once I get into boxing, you could do light sparring on one side, which is just technique, and then hard sparring, like an actual fight. So I was like, all right, I gotta really lock down because this is so different and so new. Like, I'd be getting cracked in the face, almost dropped with some body shots from guys at my gym. The guys at my gym are absolute beasts. Like, they're Golden Glove winners. They're some of the best pros in New England, best amateurs in New England. So it was pretty crazy to see how tough we go at the gym, but it honestly gets you better, you know.
Yeah, that competition and that toughness, that's just going to drive you to keep getting better and better. Having that environment around you is the best thing for your career at this point because you're still young for this. This is where you get molded for what the future is going to be for your career. You have Golden Glove winners all around you. What do you think you're going to be when you're older? Possibly a Golden Glove winner. Possibly in professional MMA or boxing leagues. That's just how it works. When you are surrounded by talent and success, you eventually mold to that talent and success, and it develops into you.
For sure.
So, Joey, we were talking, actually, before we move on, do you want to give a shout-out to your gym real quick, or no?
Yeah, Punishment Striking Systems in Seekonk. Shout-out to all the guys at my gym. Shout-out to Coach Aaron Bernardo. Shout-out to Gentle Savage. He's a beast. Tony Angirazzi. They're all awesome. Love you guys. Shout out to them.
Nice. Yeah, I meant to let you give that shout out. There was a second I almost passed by that. I had to recoil for a second and get back here, but now we're good. But so, Joey, we were talking during the break a little bit about your training, and obviously we have talked about how obviously it's a very mental thing. Obviously getting that reaction time down for the dodges and that type of stuff is very tough. What has your training specifically been like for you for this boxing career as it's still pretty young in its actual career?
Yeah, so each day, like, I'll go into my gym. We train for, I leave around 5-ish, get there like around 6. Right as I get there, I do cardio workouts. I do, push-ups, sit-ups, all that, go on the bike, go on all these things, lift some weights there. I don't really like lifting weights. They're kind of heavy. I know you don't like to hear that because you do, but kind of heavy for me, so I don't like doing that. But I more of like boxing. That's my workout, getting hit in the face and hitting people. So that's fun. So that's pretty much for the first hour of training, and then we go into boxing technique drills. You do combinations, which is people don't even get how hard it is. I don't even know how hard combinations were in boxing. Like, you need to know like 15 different punching combos. 1, 2, 3, duck, slip, 3, 2, 3. Under all these weird things, and you have to know them by heart and stuff, so you have that mentally in your head. But after we do that, then we go into sparring. So it's pretty much all that I leave around like 8:30, 8:45ish to 9 o'clock. So a couple hours of just hard training. Three times a week, obviously at my gym. Then I'll go home, train. I have a home gym in my house. In the basement, I have mats and everything. That's where we did some of the LFL fights that I was running for a good amount of time. I did that, so that was fun. So I trained there. I do cardio on the Peloton. So I get all the things in and get my strength at my gym. Sparring, technique at my gym. Do a little bit of stuff at my house. Cardio at my house. So try and get all the aspects of what I need to do for my next fight.
Yeah, being able to actually do that at your house probably helps a massive amount too.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned that I might not like that you've been weights have been a little bit too heavy.
Yeah.
You also have to keep in mind I'm not getting decked in the face, and I'm not a world champion for amateur boxing, Joe. You've done a massive amount. There's no way I could be disappointed in that. But you mentioned the LFL, Legacy Fighting League. That could actually be a perfect segment to talk about a little bit. Would you want to talk about the development of that and how it evolved into, it became a bit massive at that point. I can't even lie. How it evolved into the massive phenomenon that became.
So it was started in like summertime. I was having a sleepover with Ryan Santinas and Michael Bush, and I was like, yo, you guys need to box each other. I was like, whatever. It would be fun to watch. And they're like, nah, we can't. So we stayed up all night. It was around 7 in the morning. They're like, dude, you guys got to box each other. That'd be hilarious. They're like, fine, we'll do it. So I set up a camera. It was boxing. It was horrible boxing. No technique. They were going light too. And Ryan won. He beat Bush, surprisingly. It's crazy. So once that happened, I took a video. Nothing happened until I just have that video kept in, And then Bush called out Casey Hanowich, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we actually going to start this? Whatever, I'll start it up. I kind of forget the whole timeline of everything happening, but, they fought finally. Bush won, surprisingly, against Casey. And then, but one thing, I posted that video to YouTube and stuff. Everybody loved it. It was great. I loved it. When I posted it, it said betting odds, like as a joke, like plus 500, plus or minus 100 and stuff like that. Random things as a joke. I was like, didn't mean anything of it. They played it at Sports Debate Club at Fian, which is all right. I was fine with it. Yeah. But one of the kids there told Mr. Powell what was going on. And then obviously when a teacher hears that and saying, boxing, all right, that's fine, it's out of school. But then the kid said there was betting involved, which there wasn't. It was just fake. It was just put in there to see, like, oh, who's the favorite and who's not. I had to go talk to Mr. Powell. While he was teaching a class, I had like a 10-minute talk with him, like begging him not to tell Mr. Kane. Mr. Powell's like, no promises. Like, Mr. Powell, please, come on. It's just boxing. Everything's safe. He's like, no promises, Joe. And I was like, all right, whatever. Last period of that day, I'm like, all right, I think I got off clean. I think I'm all set. I had an Instagram, too, I had to delete because I was scared, like, something would happen. So it was last period. All of a sudden, Mr. Svensson walks in the room. I was like, oh, God, that's for me. He's like, Joe Brooks here. Looks at me, and I'm like, I'm right here. And he's like, do you know why I pulled you in? I was like, yeah, LFL boxing. He's like, yup. He had a no card with my name and then Casey's name somehow. I don't know why he was there. But then I was talking to him about it. I was like, there's no betting involved. That was just, the guy didn't know what he was talking about. He just made that up. And then I was going to show him some of the videos, but he's like, no, it's outside of campus. The parents know about it, what's happening. It's all good. So I was like scared I was going to get expelled. I literally thought I was going to get suspended or something. But he said he was a fan of it, so that's awesome. And then crossed off my name off his little note card, so I was like, that's great. So I kept it going. And then Ryan Chantana's never joined back. Casey, he has some issues. He couldn't fight due to parental things. They didn't let him fight. So, and then Bush wanted to retire as champion, so we let that all settle down. So.
Yeah, so Ryan was a one-fight champ, basically.
Yeah,
he had that one fight with Bush before the league was even developed fully. Mm-hmm. And then now he just lives in legend for that league, basically. Yeah. That day, though, I remember, Joey, you were sitting right behind me, I'm pretty sure, in class.
Yeah.
When got pulled out.
Mm-hmm. You were there.
Yeah. It got to a point where so many people knew about the LFL that I remember about 4 different camera angles of your talk with Fenson being released somehow. Like one from an upper window, basically watching down to the stone street. One from like a down low angle that's coming down from basically that big auditorium area.
Yeah,
everyone knew what was going on. Was a crazy thing. And that started in like 2 days. I remember I had like about 5 guys just wrapped in a circle around me one time, just watching that Casey versus Bush fight.
Yeah, I saw freshman girls watching that, and I'm like, that's me on the screen. That's my dog running in the screen. And I was like, What are you watching that for?
Dude, it took over for a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it genuinely had a chokehold on a good part of Fian for a little bit, Joey.
It was fun run.
Yeah, it was so cool to see because that's something that we're gonna remember forever. Like, wow, you remember that boxing league our friends made just in high school? That was sick. Like, that's something that people won't forget. That's not just someone finishing 4 years of high school looking back and be like, wow, I didn't really do much. I started a boxing league in my high school. That's something that you can always remember, Joey. That's awesome. Just funny hearing all the connections to the Ryan Santines versus Bush thing. I didn't think that'd be how it started. Them fighting at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
The last thing I expected. And then Casey obviously having the parental thing stop him from continuing the fights. The league kind of got dragged down a little bit, I imagine. Then you had a couple fights in the LFL, though, right?
Yeah, I fought Kean Hickey. That was fun. Fought a couple other people that weren't even on camera. I fought Casey that wasn't on camera. That didn't get. I was actually like 19 seconds that fight. I won, obviously.
Yeah, I imagine that one was just begged not to be posted online after.
Yeah, you couldn't
Please
post that.
I
sparred Bush a couple times. I dropped him once. So that was fun.
Did you knock out Bush? Or
I dropped him with a body shot. I'm gonna have to send that to you so we can put that on here.
Yeah, unreleased footage will be shown right here. Michael Bush. That's insane. Wow.
Kean Hickey, I hit him really hard, sent him to the gulag on one of the hits. He flew back. Shout out to Kean Hickey, he got in there. He's a beast, you know.
Yeah, no, anyone who's
he's actually training now. He does jiu-jitsu, so
yeah.
Hopefully I was the one that started that. I'm hopefully got him to do that, so that's awesome for him.
No, that's sick, Joey. You starting this stuff is not just having an impact on you and your friend group. It's impacting others' lives, and that's so cool to see. This has not been done at all in this area, I feel like. But it's just so cool that you brought up the LFL thing because I almost forgot to bring up that. And that is such a massive part of this year's history. That is something that we needed to talk about, dig a little bit deeper into, and I'm so happy that we had that little section there. But, Joey, the LFL was basically just a kickstart for everything that's coming in the future. You can see the belt right there.
Yep.
Joey, show them a little bit of gold around your neck, a little bit of those medallions right there.
Here it is.
This is a champion who is sitting right in front of us. And, Joey, through those championships, through everything you've done, through the hard work, the hours you spend wearing trash bags to make yourself sweat and cut to weight.
Yeah.
What are the biggest life lessons that you've learned from all that effort, all that time that you spent just working on yourself? What do you think you took away from that?
You know, one quote I really like is that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Obviously, I busted my ass for that first fight, and all my fights really against guys who are more talented than me, haven't been doing it for longer, and who really wants it more. And then once you finally get in there and work hard, it really proves that that's like true. All you have to do is work hard for what you want. Also, one major thing I get out of boxing is confidence. You get really a lot of confidence after you get in there. You perform in front of hundreds of people watching you. Some are booing you. Like last fight, people were like yelling at me, like talking so much shit to me, and then cheering on the other guy. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then a ton of people cheering on you, and it really boosts your confidence up after the fight. You know, it's a great thing to have.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the confidence aspect, that confidence I feel like is instilled in you from knowing that you had to put in so much work to get to this point. But also, when you're in that ring, as you mentioned, you're getting boos, you're getting cheers. You kind of can decide if you're the hero or if you're the villain in your own mind. Sometimes acting as the villain, just pummeling the other guy, that's what you want to do. Sometimes you act yourself up as the hero. Feel like everyone wants you to win this, and you can't lose when you feel like you have to win this. And that's something that is just fully mental there. So I think that is a really good takeaway. Would you say there's been anything else that you've taken away from this sport that will stay with you forever?
Honestly, it teaches you so much about dedication. Obviously, the people that you meet is awesome. They'll teach you like life lessons. The people that you meet, not only the sport, but like the coaches teach you a lot of these things. You know, just never give up. Obviously, like before I was even champ 2 days ago. I was like 2 days before I was a champ. I didn't even planning on ever boxing ever, and then now I'm a champion. It was crazy. It honestly changed my life now because now I'm a boxer, and now I'm gonna be doing that for my future.
Yeah, one big thing that I've always been told is staying in your comfort zone does nothing beneficial for you. You
100%.
stepped out of that comfort
Yeah.
zone taking the fight. You never did boxing before. Look at what is on your neck and what is on the table right there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This would not be possible if you didn't take
Exactly.
that fight.
Yep.
And Joey, you've come such a long way. I just wanted to say personally, I am so proud just to see what you've done.
Thank
Just
you.
seeing a kid my age do this type of stuff, put their actual full focus into something and actually win, actually compete, actually do what they set out to do. That's just so awesome to see.
Thank
And
you.
it's very easy to say, yeah, I'll put the dedication on this. I'll work on this. It's so much different to actually take the time out of your day, start working on whatever you need to work on, just basically block out everything around you and just focus on your goals. And that's what you did.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, Joey. Would you want to give any final shout-outs to any of the crowd, any of your family, anything before we let you go?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my fans. Shout out to my uncle, my grandfather, my dad, and my brother. They go to all my fights. It's awesome. I love seeing you guys there. You guys help me get pumped up. Shout out to my coach. Shout out to Coach Aaron Bernardo. Shout out to all the boys at my gym. They're great. They're awesome. I love training with you guys. Shout out to Gentle Savage. I said you already, but shout out to you again. My gym, Punishment Striking Systems. Honestly, it's crazy. If people want to go out there and box, even just for a workout, if you don't want to be get in the ring, just get a good workout. Or if you do want to get in the ring, become a champion, go to Punishment Striking Systems. It's great.
Okay, that was perfect. This has been episode 14 of the Jodas Hour with Joey Brooks, the amateur boxing world champion. We finally got it right for the final time before we let him go. Thank you so much for coming on, Joey. This has been great.
Thank you.